So, Kojin-Jitsu. Let's talk about some advanced techniques. If you've been practicing basic for, let's say, about a year, you can consider yourself a blue belt or a red belt. If you've been practicing intermediate for a year, you consider yourself around a second degree red belt, perhaps a brown belt. I've been doing Kojin-Jitsu for about 30 years, along with other martial arts. After 3 decades of weightlifting and kickboxing, I'm formally retired, but I still practice a little bit every day. Everybody can practice a little bit every day, self-defense. Kojin-Jitsu was founded in the 50s by a gentleman who doesn't have a name. They called him Zenth Soke. That was just what the native karatekas called him. A couple of drunken louts got in a fight with him, and they weren't supreme martial arts experts or anything. They were like red belt, brown belt, and they got beaten by him using non-Asian martial arts. What Zenth Soke practiced was Kamrak Bas, Celtic martial art, Greco-Roman Wrestling, and boxing together combined, which is a martial art called pankration. He studied Savat, which is a Gallic martial art. So some of these indigenous combat systems that he studied weren't Asian at all. Kojin-Jitsu was just a name that the indigenous people gave him. So anyway. Alright, I'm a little bit out of breath because I've been practicing some of the advanced techniques to try to make it easy enough to use for you. Now, most if not all fights end up on the ground, so you're going to want to supplement any boxing or grappling or punching technique with some hand-to-hand combat skills on the ground. I personally recommend Gracie Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's probably the most efficient and best one-on-one ground fighting system there is. However, it is specifically suited for one-on-one combat. So if you're using it against multiple opponents, unfortunately it's not going to work. You can't fight one guy on the ground and have 2 other dudes surrounding you, kicking you while you're trying to fight one guy. Kojin-Jitsu offers an easy enough method. Basic, of course, that's it. Jab, uppercut, front kick. Front kick's easy enough. If you can lift up your leg to walk up a stair, bam, extend your foot out, it's a front kick. Intermediate was a little bit more in depth. You had a switch kick, had a couple of more advanced combinations. Advanced, you're going to focus more on in-depth, up-close stuff. That's going to be elbows. A lot of this stuff looks like it was taken from Muay Thai. It was actually taken from a combination of pankration and Kamrak Bas, which are Celtic and Mediterranean martial arts for a couple of thousand years old. So when you're up close, you can grab your opponent by the neck. You're blocking, you're attacking, you're punching. You grab your opponent, suffocate him on the neck, on the sides, it's carotid artery, and then you'll bring up your knees and start kicking at will. This is pretty effective because once you get in close enough to your opponent, punches and kicks, full strength just aren't going to work. You're going to need something to suffocate him quickly. Alright. Might want to practice too something that's called a Y block. It's wrist raised up, wrist raised down. You practice that a little bit and it starts to turn into something that looks like this, which is kind of a strike. Not necessarily what this looks like if you practice it. Up, down, with each. It looks like 2 back fists with each strike, up, down, up, down. What it is you're trying to make sure that a judoka or a jiu-jitsu expert or a grappling expert can't get a hold of your wrists. That's what you're practicing, breaking out of a wrist lock. This is a wrist lock breaking. It looks like it might be a forearm, or maybe it's a fist, or a strike of some kind. No, breaking out of wrist locks. That's what this is. So, a lot of people try to grapple. I'm going to come at you, especially jiu-jitsu experts. Try to grab your wrist, try to grab your chest. This is breaking out of that. Alright, so, let's see, a little bit of history of it. Kojin-Jitsu was originally taught separately from men and women, meaning it wasn't co-ed. So women had slightly different ranking systems as men. They usually had the same colors, but they had more, let's say, poetic names. Instead of red belt, you were rose level. Instead of purple belt, you were lilac, or I forget what it was, lotus, perhaps. Instead of a black belt, you were orchid, which is cooler, you know. The men's rankings were earth, air, fire, water, shadow, dragon, green, white, red, blue, brown, black. The belt rankings don't matter so much as the practice. It's consistent practice. I know I'm a little bit out of breath. I got done lifting weights for an hour. So now that I'm finally retired, I consider myself a black belt. If you practiced Kojin-Jitsu diligently every day, even for just as little as 30 seconds, you can really build up a great self-defense repertoire. And I can confer upon you a black belt if you want to email me with proof that you've been doing this for a couple of years. Other than that, this is Zak Standridge, black belt Kojin-Jitsu, offering you free self-defense, no dues, no fees. Practice a little bit every day. And if you're out of breath like me, that's probably a good thing because you're probably doing something else too. Go lift some weights, go run outside, go spend some time with your kids, go find a dance partner and dance. Other than that, practice, stay strong, stay safe. Zak Standridge out.